Hey everybody, Superfluous Jay here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and I normally don't start in R&D, but I am this time because I wanted to show you something. The surface scanning module is locked in behind 560 Tech Science node, which I cannot research at this level. Also, the drills are locked, and the converter and the ore storage is all locked behind that 560 tier. So we cannot drill for science until we can unlock this R&D facility, which is going to cost us $3.3 million or over $2 million more than we have. So what are we doing today? We're going to Minmus. And I'm going to show you, or I'm sorry, not going to Minmus, we're going to Moho. It's 16 days away, which is very close. We're going to go to the Kerbal National Space Station. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this here. We're going to fly the Kerbal National Space Station. And what I'm going to do is I am going to set up a maneuver node on the Kerbal National Space Station to eject to Moho using Astrogator because it's the most fun. Now, the timings are slightly different. This is 16 days, 15 hours. Kerbal Alarm Clock actually might say roughly close to the same thing. Kerbal Alarm Clock says it's in 16 days. Yeah, so it's actually very close, especially because this usually puts like some time before it. So never mind. A lot of times these things aren't going to be exactly the same. But anyway, we're going to create a maneuver on the Kerbal National Space Station that is going to tell us, oh, interestingly, to eject straight out. So never mind. I thought I was going to be showing you something today, but I'm not. But yeah, this maneuver node here, how big is it? It's actually not that bad. Oh no, it is that bad. Let's maneuver 2 is a 1,000 meter per second burn in sun orbit, which is crazy. I wish it didn't do that. Let me delete that. Oh, you know what? Let me delete this one too. Let me remake them. I'm going to try to make this better because this node should not be done. We should be doing this in low Kerbin orbit. So here's our not quite encounter. We need to go way north on this thing, probably around 1,000 meters per second. So I'm just going to plug 1,000 into here, and that puts our ascending node at 4.8. So what if we make it like more? 3.3, 4.1. It's getting far off too. So 4.8 might be the best we can do. Let's also slow down. Whoa, not a lot. Yeah, I'm doing these things way too big motions here, because we still want to meet right around there, but we want to do it 5.1, 5.0. We want to do it at the lowest amount possible, because now I'm plugging 1,000 meters per second in this thing, but note it's only 17 to do it here. When this one's 13 and this one's 1040, we're saving like 300 meters per second by doing it in Kerbin orbit, even though we're going really fast in Kerbin orbit. We're still going fast in sun orbit, so that's why this works. Let's go ahead and keep fiddling here. Speed up just a little bit. Change. Oh, let's go and do this. That's continually moving them farther apart. So let's bring them back over here and do this orbits ahead of time, or orbits later, I should say. Because every time we add an orbit, we're moving them this way, and then when I speed up a little bit, it's bringing them back. And they've got to be really close there. They are, except for it's just this, because the ascending node is so crazy. So let's go ahead and go a little bit faster. I'm doing that to get this here, and then we're going to go forward in orbits to bring them back like this. Now I want to go a little slower. Oh, I just had an encounter. There we go. Now let's focus view on Moho. And by the way, I'm not going to Moho with the Kerbal National Space Station, just so you know. What are we looking at as far as maneuver nodes here? So let's slow down what we're changing just to see what. See, that goes away, which is crazy. Yeah, I lost it. That's nuts. That's how squirrely this is. I might want to actually do this differently. Let's go back. Let's change our focus back over here because we need to get this back. If we speed up, we go down. So we want to slow down to come back a little bit. But we're actually going up in distance apart. Now we're getting closer. I'm just watching this closest approach number as I click go back a little bit in my orbit. 10. Now we have an encounter. And then if I go one more, yeah, it's getting closer. That's probably the closest we get. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing. Okay, I'm going to close Astrogator because we don't want it. Now, like I said, we're not doing this burn. We're using this burn to figure out where we're going. And where we're going is this way. So when I launch my ship, I'm going to want to launch a ship going like this so that he only has to burn this way. That's basically what we want to do. So now I need to actually construct that ship, which I haven't even started doing yet. So we're going to do that possibly off camera. I'm not sure yet. I'll decide when the time comes. And what I decided to do was build the ship. Here it is. I'm not going to show it to you because you'll get to see it when it's launching. However, it's kind of special. You'll notice it's tilted a bit to to normal because I have it tilted so that it will just kind of naturally go into the orbit I want it to if I launch it at the right time, which is conveniently now. And you see we're back on the regular peninsula. It's just a little easier to control what you're doing here. Let's go ahead and hit the gas, and I'm going to talk about the rocket a little bit. As is usual, it's set up to empty these side tanks right as the solids finish. It's also very low thrust to weight after we kick these solids off. So I'm going to kind of spend a little more time vertical than I normally would. I am going to tip it over, but much later than I normally do, simply because I want to make sure that we get a good vertical velocity before we lose all of our thrust to weight. So let's go ahead and toss these aside. We're tilted over 10, and our apoapsis is up at 8, but you'll notice our time to reach it is just pegged at 25 seconds. That's why, now it's 26 seconds, but I mean, it's not going up very fast. So that's why I'm doing this. Now I don't actually want it to be this vertical, so I'm gonna kind of help it along here. Let's turn the computer off. I'd like to, probably when our apoapsis is at 20, I'd probably like to be around 50, give or take. So this might have been slightly too conservative with my my turn here. So let's go ahead and that's probably looking better. Let's get it down to here, and then I'm just going to lock it to prograde, and we'll let it go at that. Also don't want to be quite this far north. I want to be somewhere between 75 and 80. Doesn't really matter that much, but I don't want it to be much over 80. Yeah, 77 should be fine. 76. Okay. Excuse me. You see here our time to reach is 37 seconds. Apoapsis is 36. It's going, as long as their time to reach goes up, which it is, we should be fine. And this ship, just so you know, you'll notice there are no Kerbals on the in the thing. This is a one-way trip for a probe. I sprung for an orbiter but I did not want to do anything more than that. So it's got just enough fuel to get into orbit, and then it's going to sit there forever. It's also going to complete this sun contract, orbit the sun, and return science from the sun contracts, just to get them done. The Bobcat stage here should get us into space and almost into orbit. And then the rest of this, which is a Valiant on some fuel tanks, that'll get us on the way to Moho and do the plane change, which I'll talk about in a second here. And looks like we're going to just lost our we just lost our Bobcats at 77. So in my testing, I was able to actually get up to 80, but my periapsis might have been lower. I'm not sure. We're basically in orbit. We're meters per second low of orbit here, so I'm not too concerned. I'm just going to coast us into space before I ditch the fairing, so that we don't get any extra drag or heating on our little probe, and then I'll show it to you. It's not much to look at, like most of the things I make, but it. Like most of the things I make, it'll get the job done. At least it should. So, let's just get this thing into space. 8. So exciting. 9, and there we go. Okay, fairings gone. Let's also extend all solar panels and extend this antenna, which, interestingly, see we don't have a connection, and now we do. If you look in map mode, our antenna is actually bouncing off of a relay on the moon, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm going to kill the engine, and then we're going to stage away the Bobcat phase. We'll turn this guy so up is up, and also so the solar panels get in the sun. And let's go ahead and get this guy into orbit before we worry about talking about the ship. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about the ship that can aim at maneuver nodes, by the way. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the ship as we're going here. We've got multiple stages, multiple fuel tanks, Separatrons, which I never use, probably for good reason, and we'll find out how they work here in a minute. And let's go ahead and go. I plan on doing this whole mission in kind of one go without really waiting for anything else, mostly because I don't have any other plans really. Let's get our apoapsis up to 80. This is going to be a moderately long burn, so we might as well make sure that we have a moderately decent apoapsis here. There we go. Aim at that maneuver node, and that'll get us into orbit. And basically, this thing here is going to get us on the ejection to Moho. This is gonna, and it might even do our mid-course, at least part of our mid-course correction. This will do most of the rest of the mid-course correction, and we might have to burn this at Moho itself. That's why we have the Sepratron, so we can get rid of it as soon as it's done. Mission protocol says we're going to close this when we launch that, so we don't damage the satellite dish, because that would kind of suck if we lost comms because a Sepratron burned our antenna array away. So that's what you'd call mission protocol. There is to do that. So let's go ahead and get our periapsis above 80, and there it is. So now let's look at how we did. Compare ourselves to the Kerbin National Space Station. We set him as our target. We'll see the maneuver node. We went a little too far north. Not a big deal. I spent a lot more time on this maneuver node than I probably should have. I'm just going to delete it in the thing here, because we're not going to use it anymore. Now that we got it into our thing here, we're going to just say, make us a new maneuver node, and we're going to do what this maneuver node says. In my testing, getting rid of this mid-course correction and instead doing the whole burn at Moho actually spent more fuel. Mostly because you don't really get the Oberth effect use, because you're burning as you're falling, and then you're burning as you're rising again. So you end up wasting more fuel. And this mid-course correction out here lets you burn more at your periapsis when you get to Moho. So that's what we're going to do. So we got a 1,500 meter per second burn. 1,600 of it is what this guy has. So we are actually going to be taking him into sun orbit, which is nice. We don't have anything else to do. As I said, all we're doing is collecting these sciences. So let's go ahead and warp just to this node here. And close Astrogator because we don't need it. We still, these two contracts here are still saying that we need 40 of 50%, so we're not quite there with them yet. Let's go ahead and do our burn to eject to Moho. And I should be able to time warp. I have auto struts. I'm not a big fan of 4 times time warp. It made these things shrink a lot, so I'm only gonna do 3 times time warp. And we're going to get our ejection. This is our first probe leaving Kerbin for sun orbit. Pretty exciting. Okay, I got my finger on X, and now we'll do the last bit slow and steady. Make sure we get it as perfect as is reasonable to expect, which would be that. Okay, so we're going to kill this. We've still got 58 meters per second left in this tank. We have 684 in this burn, which does not, you'll notice, give us an encounter. So we're going to have to fiddle with this. Might as well do it now. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's see, what do we need? If we go retrograde, let's actually bring this up. Closest approach is 66 kilometers. If we go retrograde, it goes to 68. So let's go prograde instead. That brings us 30, 20, 10. Boom. Now we have an encounter. So let's go ahead and focus view on Moho. We want this encounter to cross Moho's north or south pole. I don't really care which one. And we've been going prograde, so let's just keep it up here. That's pretty good. Probably slow down our burn here, and that's perfect. And then we'll just raise it up. Looks like we do need to slow down a little bit. And then raise it up. I'd like a periapsis around 30. 23 seems reasonable. Doesn't have to be perfectly over the poles, just has to be close. Let's go ahead and aim at it right now, because we don't have anything better to do. And let's get this guy into a sun orbit for the first time ever. We're going to have a ship orbiting the sun. I don't know about you, but I'm excited. Let's go ahead and just warp to here. And orbit around the sun. We have to return science from the sun. So we have all of our science that we got because we're getting it all on here. Well, we got a lot less than I expected us to. High over the sun. Let's go ahead and transmit that. We could also watch our electric charge, which should be pretty good. That's done. We got our contract too. Let's go ahead and do this one here. Yeah, we have plenty of electric charge. Oh, there we go. Now we've burned some up. Let's transmit that one. And that's done. Okay, good. I was getting a little worried there. Let's perform all science. Reset, reset, reset. Yeah, we don't have any to do. Yeah, that magnetometer is cool. Oh, another thing I didn't mention. The antenna on this side of the magnetometer here, one of the reasons I used this slanting fuel tank, other than it's nice looking, is that allowed me to put the magnetometer exactly equal, as far as RCS build aid was concerned. These balance out each other on mass, so our center of mass is perfectly in the center, which I like, of course. Okay, we got this contract done. We got some milestones and stuff. Let's head back to Kerbal Space Center and see if we get any new contracts to look at. I don't expect we're going to get one for Moho. Generally, you get Eve and Duna first, and you have to actually go to them before you get something for Moho, which is a bit of a shame, but what are you going to do? Let's go ahead and look here. Anomaly Sphere, nothing. Bases, nothing. Yeah, not going to do those. Exploration, what do we got now? Start exploring Eve. See, yeah. I'm not necessarily going to take that, although it's a nice amount of stuff. And we're probably not going to have anything for this. Oh, Sentinel. I actually want to pick this up, because this will also get one for Comets eventually. So I'm just going to accept that because I know I'm going to want it. And then the rest of these I'm not even going to look at. Repair a satellite? No, not going to happen. Okay, so we only have one contract, and it's nothing that we're going to actually work on until we finish this Moho encounter. So let's go ahead and go to Moho Sciencer, fly him. This will simulate the time that it's going to take to get to Moho. And by the way, notice that we got the Moho timer up for the next encounter, because I have these set up to recur. Every time one goes by, it generates a new one, which I think is a really cool aspect of Kerbal Alarm Clock. But anyway, we are in Sun orbit. We've got a long way to go. Let's go ahead and get there as I sneeze. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and warp 56 days. That's something I never ever do. Let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna get these surface data in a minute or two here. I'm surprised we haven't gotten them already, but eventually we're gonna get those. And let's see, this engine's really not going to last very long, and then the rest of it's going to be done with the Terrier, but it is what it is. We're going to leave stuff in space. That's the way it works. And go. And go. Now this is draining from these fuel tanks up here, so we're going to actually lock one of these open, because that's when we need to know when this thing is going to run out of fuel, so that we can toss it as quickly as possible. And I'm going to hit F5 before the burn that we do that on, just in case something weird happens. I am totally willing to fiddle to make it work, under the guise of they tested it, because, you know, I would have. So, there we go. Let's look at Moho itself and see how our orbit looks. That's Eve. That's the orbit. There we go. Focus view on Moho. Let's see what our line looks like compared to what we want, and obviously it's not as good. So we want at least 30, or at most 30, I should say. 29, perfect. Okay, let's kill this, and then now we are going to add a maneuver here to slow our roll at Moho, and we're just going to get into orbit, because we'll do this whole thing with 2 burns. We'll do 1 burn just to get into orbit, 2750, which should leave us around 600 meters per second. It's probably going to be closer to 5 or 4, just because we're not going to get the full benefit from Oberth. Also, we're gonna have to ditch these things fairly early on into the burn, so that's something to watch for. So let's go ahead and let's actually warp to here, so we can get the science from high over Moho, and that should also get us these contracts here. At least it should get us these contracts. I mean, we're at 40%. We should get to 50% sooner rather than later. And we're in orbit around Moho. So let's go ahead and transmit our data. Let's review our stored data. We have 8 of them. We better watch our electric charge here. Let's see. Transmit. This one's not worth anything. Discard, 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 discard. Transmit. transmit, and then transmit. And we're good. I'm glad I brought both of these antennas because we can just transmit everything all at once. So that's nice. There's Moho off in the distance. We are going to... actually, let's hit F5 here. And then we are going to warp to this node. We're holding maneuver, so losing the antenna is not going to be a big deal. We've got plenty of electric charge. But this burn is going to be a little crazy. Also, it's nice that we're coming in right on the terminator. Although I think now that I say that, I think that actually always happens. We're getting more data, which is nice. We're going to transmit this all once we get into orbit. So, mission protocol says we need to retract the antenna. Until such time as this thing gets ejected. The rest of this, the probe is being computer controlled right now. It's going to start the burn on its program schedule. It's going to kick the stage away, and it's going to then re-bring its antenna out. I'm doing it, but it's all pretending that this is from the antenna. And we just got low over data, which is nice. We've got 4, 3, 2. I'm just looking at the liquid fuel here. 1, 0, and... Whoa. Well, it worked. Probably could have removed some of the fuel from that, but okay. Let's go ahead and extend this antenna and get our connection to Kerbin back. There we go. And we've still got 1,600 meters per second. So yeah, it is looking like we might end up with 600 or so left in the tank, which will be nice. Not necessary, just nice. I used the antenna range mod, by the way, to make sure that this antenna would reach Kerbin from where I am. It's nice to have. And once we get into orbit here, we are going to kill our burn. And we have successfully reached orbit of Moho, which is pretty awesome. Let's go back to Kerbal Space Center, because I want to check our contracts down and see if anything popped up for Moho now that we've got it in orbit around it. Also, I want to check our money, see what kind of cash rolled in just for reaching Moho. Not bad. We got so far we've got $400,000 and we've barely done anything. Satellites. Do we got a satellite around Moho? Nope. We're seeing stuff for Eve and Gilly though. Here we go. Satellite. Sentinel comet detection. I was expecting that. Let's go ahead and accept that one. We're just going to do it. And then another plant a flag on Minmus, which, I mean, we're eventually going to go back there, I guess. Nothing for Moho yet. Oh, wait, here we go. Perform temperature scan experiments on Moho. This is landed, though, so we're not going to be doing that. And we don't have mystery goo, so we can't do that either. Exploration. Oh, look at that. Do a manned return from the orbit of Moho and land on Moho. So we actually are getting Moho contracts, which is nice. Anomaly surveyor, by the way. Investigated geological formation on Moho. Well, I guess I know what we're doing next time. Let's go ahead and just accept these. Investigate geological formation on Moho. And then what else do we get? Land on Moho and perform a manned return from the orbit of Moho. Let's just do all those. That's gonna give us a ton of money, and it's going to help us get closer and closer to this. So that's what we're doing. We're doing the hardest planet first, which is a little annoying. What does Kerbal alarm clock say? The next, the next. That's not right. Oh, maybe it is. It's weird because it was about that last time. Yeah, the next launch to Moho is in 24 days. So maybe I'll just do that. Maybe we'll just pick up another Moho contract. Let's go ahead and fly the Sciencer. Let's transmit all of our data back that we've got so far. And then let's call this a day. Let's go ahead and review our stored data. Let's watch our electric charge here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, aborting transmission. Okay, not a big deal. Just get our, oh, there we go. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. I must have, yeah, I think it doubled up some of these 48 MIT ones. Like, we're getting more of those because those gravity scans, you can get them anywhere. So let's get our electric charge back up, and now we can do some orbits, and we can actually yeah, there's the there's the anomaly. So let's time warp. How far away is our apoapsis? 4 hours. Oh, that's not too bad at all. Let's warp to here. See if we get it. Yeah, see, we got high over Moho's North Pole. I don't think we're going to get very many more high over gravity scans than that one. But we might as well transmit it. Oh, we got 3 total. Let's go ahead and transmit one of these and see if it uses up more than half of our charge. It doesn't. So we can transmit these 2 at a time. And then this one with 2 MITs, we can transmit that. So let's then use up all of our fuel here by adding a maneuver to slow down 480. Actually, we can get in a perfect orbit, which is nice. 28 by 34. That's perfectly fine by me. So let's turn our computer on, aim at it, and it's 4 hours away. Let's warp to it. There she is, and whomp. We can transmit this one piece of data, might as well. And there we go. 36 by 28. Perfectly reasonable orbit. And we are set. So, next time, we are going to build another ship. This one's going to be manned. And it's going to bring a scientist and an engineer out here to Moho to visit the Moho. I hope you're looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I definitely enjoyed playing it. If you did enjoy watching it, please, as always, like it and subscribe. I'm Superfluous J, and I will, as always, talk at you later.